All right. It is Sunday night, January 17th, 17 days into what is 2021. And
Just 2020 part 2. That's all it is.
and this is the Getting Off Topic podcast. This is Tony.
This is Todd.
This is Byron.
This is Meg.
Yay. And Byron eating
Yay.
pizza.
Woo.
And I'm very jealous.
I mean, it's just Safeway brand, so.
Oh, that's all good. Meg came out of the shower at like 8:30, and she's like, "Hey, what do you think about dinner?" And I was like already eating a bowl of granola, and she's like, "Oh," she's like, "I was thinking about junk," and I was like, "Well, you should have said something earlier."
That is not how this conversation went earlier.
What? Basically. Whatever.
Basically.
Welcome to the podcast, you guys. We're in 2021, and thankfully everything is a-okay, isn't it? nothing of note has happened lately. We're all just able to kick back and enjoy our geek news. And
I mean, it's either that or, you know, hyper fixate on, you know, bullshit you can't control, you know. So I'm just gonna read thousands of issues of comic books from the 1970s. How about that?
That sounds wonderful.
Yes. Playing hours and hours of the same video games.
What do you
Hey, that's what they're made for, right?
Exactly.
I've been playing. I was playing State of Decay 2 earlier.
Oh, I love that game. I love that franchise.
Oh man, it's definitely a favorite. I play it through Game Pass for PC, and I randomly started playing it about 6 to 8 months ago, and it was one of those things where I was like, "Oh, I heard about this game once upon a time," and I never played the first one, and I installed it, and I was just gonna pop in, play, you know, just check it out, see what it's about for like an hour. About 15 hours later,
Yep. It's definitely one of those games where you can do both. You can. It's like the old joke for Civilization. You press that next turn, and then somehow it's 20 hours later. You haven't eaten.
Yeah.
And you the last time you went to the bathroom
sun
was
is
on
coming
a Thursday.
up. Yeah.
Or it can also be one of those games where you can.
It's actually the year 10,000, and there are gray-skinned mole people that are clubbing seals to death.
Yeah, it's the
Praise the mole man.
Yeah.
The H.G. Wells time machine, and yeah, you find yourself in the two caught in between the two warring factions of humanity. What is remains of humanity?
How is my PC still being powered?
Where is this electricity coming from? So speaking of that, Tony, there's actually some news that you would probably be interested in, because I know you played New Vegas a fuck ton.
Oh, that yeah, I did see this news. Yes,
Fallout New Vegas Frontier has been,
AKA Fallout Portland.
Fallout Portland.
Yeah.
No, that's what it is.
Yeah.
The Frontier, the PNW, right? Pacific Northwest. Yeah.
Has finally been released after about 10 years in development, and it's a fully voice acted, fully quest, full game expansion, full sized map for Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah, I was saying
doubles.
I heard that it was. Yeah, I heard that it was about the same size as the Capital Wasteland.
Yeah.
Wow.
In terms of
the game files in general are larger than the game. The mod files are larger than the actual game files and expansion files.
Well, I mean, a lot of that is going to be like texture sizes and that type of thing.
Yeah, for sure. I read a little bit on it. There's even new like game mechanics in it. I think they said there's a little bit of driving.
Yeah, they somehow managed to get driving in the game. That was something not even Bethesda could do.
Wow.
Yeah, Bethesda wanted to, but it got cut from Wasteland because they were going to have motorcycles in Fallout 3, but they got cut pretty early in development, and then they tried it again for Fallout 4. They couldn't get it done, and Obsidian couldn't get it done for New Vegas either. So
it was hilarious to watch when Meg was getting through Skyrim. just after I had finished Breath of the Wild and just enjoying the hell out of the smooth, majestic wonderland of riding a horse through Hyrule, and then Meg gets on a horse in Skyrim, and it is the most clunky mechanic. It's just
Oh, it was the fucking
Janky as
worst.
hell.
it's just
Somehow
so bad.
the horse ends up on a roof in Breeze Home.
Yeah.
Dude, my character would literally stand on top of the horse, like not even
Oh,
sitting down, just
you got
standing
the-
on it.
You
Yeah.
got the T-pose, the power move bug.
Oh,
Yeah.
and I hated the fact that the horse would always attack the nearest enemy. So it would block stairs, it would block entrances to castles or dungeons or whatever. And I'm like, just fucking move.
Yeah, I always had to mod that to get the horse to like
Ugh.
stay far back or not or be passive or something.
I thought that
But
was
you-
the one cool mechanic. I mean, I see now how it can be annoying with blocking places, but I thought that was badass when I just looked up and noticed, oh, your horse is fighting the dragon with you. That's rad.
It's awesome until the horse dies to one dragon breath.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited about Fallout the Frontier. I might actually try to do a full stream of that game on my gaming channel.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No,
Yeah.
I just and I've actually met a couple of the people who worked on the game. A couple of them work at this place called Ground Control in Portland, which is it's a barcade, but it's gigantic. It used to be one building. Now they bought the surrounding build. They bought the other side of the building that they didn't own, and now it takes up almost like half an entire city block.
Jesus.
And it is legitimately one of the coolest barcades I've ever been in.
That's cool.
Ever. If you ever come to Portland, it is a absolute must see because it's very impressive. Yeah.
Meg went to Costco the other day, yesterday, I think, and just went for some random supplies and texted me a picture like, fucking Costco. And as soon as she had walked in the door, there in front of her was a beautiful MSI gaming laptop. I forget, it's like the G75 series or something. Tempting the shit out of us to gaming laptop.
I have my video card is MSI, my 3070. I have the twin fan OC.
Yeah. So
good.
We have kind of this is the Lenovo Yoga 730 is our laptop that we've got for, I mean, it's probably already like 2 years old. But I looked up and the actual specs in it are fairly decent. I mean, it's got an NVIDIA GTX 1050 in there, 16 gigs of RAM. And so anyway, I went on like one of those like PC game benchmark sites, like, hey, what can I actually run? Because I've never really run anything on this laptop. And I forgot that I had actually grabbed Doom Eternal finally on holiday sales. So I went ahead and loaded it up just to see what would happen. And it actually ran pretty decent, but the laptop heats up like a motherfucker. And
you have to be careful with those laptop fans because they will burn the fuck out.
Yeah.
And replacing a laptop fan is a pain in the ass.
Yeah. I bought a new Razer myself, a new Razer laptop for the bedroom, and that thing, even dealing with games that are a year, 2, 3 years old, it still heats up like crazy. And it's a brand new, like top of the line this year model laptop. So it's not
so that's not just
well, I mean, that's the thing about.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, so that's not just a problem with this laptop being 2 years old. That's even gaming laptops are going to heat up pretty massively.
Yeah. So you want either to make sure that you have unobstructed around all of the fans, or to get a cooling pad.
Yeah,
That's
I was
really
looking
the
at
only way to
cooling
deal with
pads
it.
on Amazon earlier and wondering if that might help, because I downloaded a little like CPU monitor software.
You could also try underclocking your GPU. That might help too.
Okay.
For thermals. Doom Eternal is a really performant game. It scales very well. It has always been, really good at scaling
Yeah.
their
Well, I even
It
dropped
graphics
definitely
engines.
it definitely relies on your twitch reflexes during higher frames.
Yeah,
So
I even dropped it down to low settings just to see if it make a difference, and it's still running fine. But I've got a 4-core i7 processor in here, and all of them were in the 90s, 90 degrees Celsius range. And I started looking up online. It's like, because again, I'm not familiar with laptop gaming. And just like, hey, so what are the safe temperatures for your laptop CPU? And the answers are just a bunch of dudes like giving answers all across the board. Some people were saying like, oh, like these CPUs are meant to run at 100 degrees, like go for it. And the other people are like, oh, if you hit in the 80s, like just shut everything down immediately. So like, okay, well,
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is like you can run at 100 degrees for a period of time, but you are significantly shortening the lifespan of those
right
components significantly. I remember back in the day I bought a mid-range Dell laptop. This is back in like 12-ish, and I was playing Mass Effect 2 on it, and I played all of Mass Effect 2 on this tiny little gaming laptop. And I was just in the heat of the summer, occasionally the laptop would just shut down because it was getting too hot. And I literally bought all these fans to sit it on, and I ended up burning the laptop fan completely out on the CPU fan. And trying to replace that, I mean, taking it apart by itself. I mean, I don't know if you've ever tried taking apart one of these laptops, but
yeah, I actually took this.
Not fun.
I took this one apart to swap out the Wi-Fi card on it because we were having weird Wi-Fi issues, and even that was
but getting to the CPU specifically,
a
lot harder.
So in short, if I really want to do laptop gaming, I should invest in an actual gaming, a laptop specifically made for gaming.
Does it have a Thunderbolt? Port? Do you know? Could you get an eGPU?
I don't know.
An external GPU? In a housing?
I don't know.
Because if you have a decent processor, because it sounds like you're being throttled by your GPU.
I don't know. Well, I mean, the game, like I said, the game actually ran smooth and fine and great. The problem was the temperature, because I was looking at those temperatures just going up, and I stopped because I'm like, this seems like excessively hot, and I don't want to.
So what I mean by that is, if you're using an eGPU, you're not going to be utilizing your internal GPU. So the thermals will be significantly lower. So you'll be able to run your CPU hotter because it won't have to also cool the GPU at the same time.
Okay. Yeah, maybe that's worth looking into. The whole reason that I was kind of pushing for this was, number one, because Meg saw something shiny and we were both like, ooh. But also when I started looking into it and going like, well, this could be a good solution to getting rid of our old clunker PC. Because since I've been working from home, it's just shuffled off to the corner, taking up space and collecting dust. And I mean, I was planning on getting rid of it and upgrading to a new rig anyway. But now I was thinking like, well, it would be nice. Maybe it would be better if we just had like two little laptops. Like one, could be the nice hardcore gaming one. The other one for just like regular everyday shit. And we could, declutter in here and get rid of that giant rig. But
I mean, honestly, the new laptops with good GPUs and CPUs, they're beefy. I mean,
beefy.
we're at a point where GPUs and CPUs are very powerful, and they can run. I mean, you could if you get a new enough CPU, you could do video editing on a laptop and not even have the internal fans kick on.
Yeah.
Even run Crisis on it, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah, enhanced edition.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not like such an enthusiast of like, oh, I have to have like the highest fucking frame rates and like the sharpest 4K graphics at all times or something. Like, it doesn't really concern me too much. I just don't want to damage the equipment that I have because I'm pushing it too hard. You know, but
I gotta have
don't know.
100. I gotta have 100 frames minimum. Minimum.
100 frames at 8K at all times. Anyway, this is very exciting chat for the podcast.
Oh yeah, this has been just riveting.
Absolutely. So, other than my 15 minutes of Doom Eternal today, what have you guys been playing?
I actually recently picked up Fallout 76 again. After 3 years, it's finally become a decent game. So they've worked out most of the server issues. They've had multiple expansions and patches, and they actually have NPCs now finally. So there's a fully fledged out, fully voiced acted story now with multiple quest lines.
Yeah, I heard. I saw some headlines. I didn't look too deep into it, but it sounded like what you were describing. They essentially took um, that weird. The original version of Fallout 76 seemed like such a weirdly solo endeavor, yet but also a multiplayer online thing. And
Yeah,
and now they basically they morphed it into a fully fledged Fallout game.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's still the same thing that you said. It is still a single yet multiplayer game where you can play as a team or you can play as a single player. There's still some PvP aspects that almost nobody even bothers with because nobody really cares about PvP in a Fallout game. But in the past, there was like this very basic story, and it was about you being the first one out since the bombs fell and the entire area was evacuated. Um, you're seeing what was left over from the groups that were there immediately after the bombs fell. And
Isn't it also the first vault to open up
yes,
anywhere?
yes,
Oh, wow.
it opens up 20 years, like 20 years after the bombs fell. So there's still there were still people living in the area that were there before the bombs fell. At least before you released and they all evacuated. So something had caused them to leave the area. Everybody just got up and left. It was essentially a new plague causing scorched, which are another type of feral ghouls. And that caused everybody to leave the entire area because the entire area was infected with this. So you come out of the vault, and one of the first thing, or one of the last things you do is solve that issue, and that's what brings the NPC characters back to the area. So the last expansion brings NPC characters, and I think the new patch brings in the Brotherhood, more of the Brotherhood stuff. So you get to interact with the Brotherhood again.
Cool. All right. Yeah.
So
Sorry, go
other
ahead.
than that, we do have two huge pieces of gaming news. So I'll go into the first minor one is Ubisoft has confirmed they are making an open world Star Wars game.
Yep.
That's
Star
pretty cool.
Wars Assassin's Creed.
Star Wars.
It's actually
Did you guys play Watch Dogs?
I have
never
not,
did,
but that's on my list.
Yeah.
I played the first two. I haven't played Legion just because I don't think it looks very
Another
interesting at all.
Ubisoft.
Did you play The Division?
I did. I played the second one.
Okay.
I liked it less than Watch Dogs. But...
Okay. The people that did the studio behind The Division is the one that's developing this game. So
massive.
I have hopes that it'll look beautiful and be fucking shallow.
I mean, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, interesting. Watch Dogs type of gameplay in the Star Wars universe wouldn't actually be too far off.
No, that wouldn't be too bad.
Slicing.
All right. Well, along with this news came the greater umbrella of news announcing that.
Wait. Well, let's go. I want to go back to that real quick.
Okay.
Where do you think it'll be set? I mean, Coruscant, right?
It could be set in multiple worlds. We could get a Knights of the Old Republic situation where you can travel between.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do Star Wars open world,
I think it's possible.
Yeah, you've got to have You got to be
You got to
traveling
have multiple locations. You can't be tied to in an open world. Even the Dark Souls-ish Star Wars game had multiple planets.
Well, for a while they were
Jedi
gonna
Fallen Order.
that what was the canceled one? Star Wars
1313.
1313. That was specifically in the underworld of Coruscant, right?
Yeah.
So I actually have a buddy who worked on Jedi Fallen Order,
Yeah.
and it's an impressive game, and I'm guessing he told me tales of working with Amy Hennig before that, before it was Jedi Fallen Order, when it was the Uncharted Star Wars game.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Wasn't that kind of what 1313 was going to be? That style?
Well, it was a bunch of different things. At first, it was an open world game, and then it was a linear action game, and then it was et cetera, and then it eventually sort of morphed into Jedi Fallen Order, though supposedly a lot of the shell of that was lost by the time they got to Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah. All right. Give me KOTOR 3. Just give me KOTOR 3.
But
I mean, supposedly EA has been working on it this whole time.
I don't believe it, especially now if they're going to Ubisoft. If they're opening the license up to multiple other developers, then I think EA is losing its license on the Star Wars games.
Well, EA has said, I was reading somewhere that EA has said that they're still going to be making Star Wars games, but it's no longer they're not exclusive.
Yeah, their announcement was something like there's much more Star Wars from us to come. But the larger announcement was from what is now under the classic banner Lucasfilm Games.
So this all sort of makes Squadrons and Jedi Fallen Order make a little bit more sense.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, especially Squadrons. It's EA panicking to please the fans before they lose the license, you know?
Mm-hmm. Give them dogfights. Give them dogfights for $20. Do it.
Yeah. Honestly, have you guys played Squadrons?
No.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
it's a good game. Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah. I haven't played it yet.
It's got some of those fun multiplayer I've played in a video game in decades.
That's cool. I like that they're again with this announcement saying we are now Lucasfilm Games once again, and it was like this call, like come all ye developers, like let work with us. I think that's good. That can only promote good work. You know, just
the loss of LucasArts is still a tragedy, though. I mean, that was one of the most storied and impressive game developers of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. But
I think we lost pretty much all of our developers from our childhood. We lost Sierra. We lost.
They were all bought by EA and shut down.
Pretty much, yeah. Either EA or Activision, one of the two.
Westwood.
EA Sports. It's in the game because we own you all. Well, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to. I have one more day of work. I'm actually working the holiday MLK tomorrow, and then I am off for a solid 2 weeks. So there will be much gaming. There will be much television. There will be much reading.
We should see if there's something that we can cross-play. Maybe do a recording of our stream and throw it up on somewhere.
Yeah. You're saying you want to cross streams?
Hey. Egon told me not to, okay?
Cross the streams. Omega and I have been doing our ongoing binge of Supernatural, which we will for all eternity until the sun explodes.
All what, 15 seasons?
We are now mid season 10, actually.
Oh my god.
I'm liking it. It picked back up. I love the Felicia Day episodes. Those are fantastic. We also caught. Did either of you catch Nick Cage in the history of swear words?
I saw the thumbnail for that, but I did not watch it yet. How is it?
It was fun. It was a quick like 6 episode, 20-minute episodes or half-hour episodes, and they just pick a different swear word and go through the whole like the history of it over time. And it's Nick Cage just embracing his caginess. And oh my god, I just saw yesterday.
Oh, the trailer?
Yeah, a trailer
For Willy's Wonderland.
Willy's Wonderland. Yeah.
Oh man, I feel a lawsuit coming on somewhere.
Todd, have you seen it?
Seriously, I mean, it's not even. It's the exact same premise.
It is
as Five Nights at Freddy's.
It's Five Nights at Freddy's plus Nick Cage.
But there's already a Five Nights at Freddy's movie in development right now.
I thought they already did one, like a cheap one on the Sci-Fi Channel or something.
I was just reading that they're starting shooting in the spring of 2021.
Okay.
It might be some like low budget sort of ooey bowl type of situation.
This is gonna be this is a property like Slender Man. There's gonna be 15 different versions.
Or that last Doom movie that came out, which looked even worse than the first Doom movie that came out.
I forgot that existed until you just said it. I remember seeing it in my Netflix on Netflix and realized, oh my god, this exists. And I added it to my queue. I completely forgot about it until just now.
I watched a YouTube review of it, and it was they did not think it was very good.
When you mentioned Ooey Bowl, I literally choked on my water. The only thing I can think of when I think of him is that fucking In the Name of the King movie that he did with an amazing cast. It was a Dungeons and Dragons.
What?
Yeah, it was a Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Yeah.
And it was fucking awful.
I don't know
it was probably the worst movie I've ever watched.
Have you ever seen the first Dungeons and Dragons movie?
Yeah, I saw that one too.
I still haven't seen it. I'd love to watch it sometime.
It is not
that could be something that we do a featured review for.
We should do some just lost B genre movies of their video game movies and comic book movies of the ages.
Listen to this cast and how badly he fucked this up. This cast had Jason Statham, Lily Sobieski, and this was back when she was a big thing, Claire Forlani, John Rhys Davies, Burt fucking Reynolds, Ron Perlman, and Ray fucking Liotta.
That's a crazy cast. That is a crazy cast.
By the way, one of the leads was Matthew Lillard.
What?
In all of that cast, one of the leads was actually Matthew.
Oh man, I really hurt.
Yeah. I don't feel so good, man. I feel so good. How in the fuck did Ron Perlman and
like, I don't know, Scoob.
Now I feel like we have to watch this.
Oh man!
And
an Ooey Bowl film,
and
a bowl
apparently there was 2 sequels made to it that I didn't even know happened. One of them was led by Dolph Lundgren.
Wow!
And the other one was
that tracks.
Led by Dominic Purcell, who Tony should recognize.
Oh wow! What's his face? Nick Rory from Legends of Tomorrow, but also originally from Prison Break, which I never watched. But, that is bonkers to me.
I will say the Berlanti verse, some of them are good, some of them are not so good.
Yeah, and that's kind of been falling apart lately. Well, ever since
I like the Flash. The Flash is good. I don't really like Green Arrow or Arrow, whatever.
I stuck with it. Definitely had its ups and downs in later seasons. I was disappointed to hear that they weren't. That was a bit of news actually. I was going to mention was they finally officially came out and said that they're passing on the Green Arrow and the Canaries.
Oh, the spinoff,
which bums me out because I could probably care less about the story that they were setting up for that in that backdoor pilot they did. I was like, meh. But I love those 3 actresses and those 3 characters. Like I thought I believe it would have grew into something awesome.
I think they're toning down the entire universe because they've also, in addition to the shows that are ending, Black Lightning and Supergirl, they also announced that
Green
there will be
Lantern.
no major. Well, that one's no, they haven't announced that there won't be one of those, but they did say there's no big crossover this year. There won't be any crossovers.
Right.
Well, what I was trying to get to with Green Lantern is that Berlanti is working on a high budget Green Lantern show for HBO Max.
HBO Max, yeah. And that was part of the news too, that they actually CW passed on Green Arrow and the Canaries, as did HBO Max too. So oh well. But yeah, it seems like that whole or what was the Arrowverse.
I think
splitting
HBO
up.
Max has really recontextualized a lot of stuff because they're going to be able to have higher budgets.
Yeah.
With HBO Max.
Yeah. And COVID also complicated things a few things complicated what was going to be the next crossover. It was going to be a smaller crossover to begin with, because originally creatively they were like,
what are they going to do? Invasion?
They said we already did our huge
how do you come back from Crisis?
Well, what they announced was next we're going to go smaller. We're going to have specifically a Batman Superman story, Batman Supergirl story and Superman all mixed in together. So it was going to be
good work.
Yeah, which that was the original plan. And then complication number one, Ruby Rose left.
Did you guys watch Batwoman?
I did.
It
was my favorite part of the show was, I don't know the actress's name, but the girl who plays her sister. Like she did a great job. She was a great villain. So I could kind of care less about Ruby Rose passing and them introducing a new Batwoman, but that kind of threw a wrench in the whole Batwoman Superman Supergirl crossover to begin with, and then they kind of skirted around it in interviews saying like, well, we'll have to rework it and see what we do. And then COVID hit and everything got delayed anyway. And then they just announced this past week that they just scrapped the crossover entirely. So, oh, well.
I can't say that I'm entirely surprised, mainly just because Crisis is a really hard thing to follow up, especially with all the crazy cameos they got. And I will say that in one way, I just want a Batman show. I just want a Batman show sort of done in the style of Daredevil.
No.
Just give me a real live action Batman show. None of this Gotham Pennyworth bullshit. I just don't understand why it's so hard to just do a live action Batman show.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they finally, after how many years of the CW/Arrowverse, whatever, they're finally doing Superman and Lois, which probably was going to be was going to be a huge part of that crossover, introducing that, launching that whole thing.
Yeah, but it's still just like a family sitcom. It's not going to be like a full on Superman show. It's going to be like the 90s Lois Lane and what was it called?
Lois and Clark?
Superman.
Lois and Clark, Adventures
Lois
of Superman.
Clark, yeah. Dean Cain one, yeah.
Dean
that
Cain.
Was wonderful.
Oh. Hey, no, I loved it. I mean,
that
they even had the Superman versus the Ku Klux Klan episode in that series.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't remember that.
They have literal Nazis, not like Hydra or anything, like literal actual Nazis.
Wow.
Yeah, neo-Nazis. But
I remember who was Lex Luthor in that show again.
Oh God, I haven't seen him in anything else since then.
Yeah, I mean he was solid for the time.
Yeah.
But
it was a decent show, honestly. It's surprising it happened at all. Like, it very much is. When you tell someone there was a sitcom about Superman and Lois Lane in the 90s,
yeah.
What?
I will say, I was sad originally to hear that Supergirl was coming to an end. But I mean, it's had a good run.
What, 6 seasons?
I think this will be season 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a solid run. And in the last season and a half or so, John Cryer has elevated that show
Oh,
immensely. I mean,
so good.
He is an amazing Lex. But yeah, anyway, enough of that.
We
Run
missed
down
one
Oh.
when we were hyped about the whole LucasArts things. We missed one major bit of news that we didn't talk about. Bethesda is
yes.
doing a fucking Indiana Jones game.
Yeah.
Bethesda.
Yeah, they released a little
Interesting.
teaser trailer.
And it is being produced by Todd Howard, so they haven't said exactly which of the Bethesda studios is doing it. So it could be
Hopefully
the
they just
studio.
don't. Hopefully they don't use Gamebryo.
Gamebryo?
That's the
Yeah.
engine that Skyrim, Oblivion, Fallout, they're all on.
Oh.
So we could get Gamebryo indie, or we could get like Dishonored indie.
It's
I
just
hope it's not Gamebryo indie.
It's just a Skyrim mod. That's all it is.
It's literally Skyrim with indie modded in there.
So what do you think what do you think the gameplay would be like for that? What do you think it'd be something like Uncharted? I mean,
I think despite the fact that I don't
best.
like the Uncharted style of gameplay, I think that probably would work best for an indie game. Because indie is very story driven, is very specific about the beats that indie needs to hit.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more like Tomb Raider, in that you get these tunneled linear sections, and then it opens up to more open world hub areas.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the perfect thing. It's like
also, what era would it be? Would it be? I mean, are they going to put it during World War II, or? I mean, I feel like the 50s, the Cold War, could be pretty interesting.
Yeah,
I think there was little bits of info in the teaser had almost nothing, but like people zoomed in and fucking pixel by pixeled it, and I think they were able to like get a few things out that it's probably going to be set post World War II.
That makes sense.
That would work,
because you still get the flavor of World War II in the 1950s, and the communists as interesting villains. I mean, to be fair, Indy has always sort of been the American James Bond, so fighting communists is right up his alley.
Yeah, that's definitely where it works best. Yeah,
that's exciting. That should be fun.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's anything Indiana Jones I'm going to play. I don't care if it's it could quality be level can differ. If it says Indiana Jones, I'm still going to play it.
I want my sequel to The Dig.
The Dig. Yes. Oh my god.
Bring back Steven Spielberg. Have him produce it.
Oh hell yeah. Give me just.
And what's his name? Terminator 2. The T-1000.
Oh, Robert Patrick. Yeah, he's going to be on the next season of Walking Dead.
Ugh. Yeah. So I've been so I never watched. I have a very dysfunctional relationship with Walking Dead. It's one of my favorite franchises of all time, but it treats me like a bad boyfriend.
The Walking Dead is everybody's bad boyfriend. Yeah.
And so I finally I had almost written the show off. I came back for parts of season 9, but then I left it in the dust. But I heard about the new episodes coming, and I read reviews that season 10 was great, and so I'm like, well, I guess. And World Beyond came out, so I never watched Fear the Walking Dead, so I just started Fear the Walking Dead yesterday.
Yeah, I need to get on that.
And my plan is to catch up with all Walking Dead material to meet the show up as it ends.
Yeah, that's how they get you. They suck you in. If it's one hit show that's long in the tooth, and you can start ignoring it or giving it up or whatever. But then once they do that connected universe, man, you're like, damn it. Now I got to watch this whole thing because this is apparently good again. And they're all going to culminate for their zombie Infinity War. Damn it.
Todd, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I loved the first 3 episodes of Fear, and then it just became Walking Dead Part 2.
Well, so I'm on episode 4, and it is, they ramped up to a significant point, and then it's just like, oh, and now we're stuck in this walled off part of the city, and the zombie outbreak, we didn't get to see it happen. And I'm like, what? How do you screw this up?
Yeah, literally, like you're on day 1 and then suddenly you like miss half of the outbreak. Like, what the fuck is going on? Though I did like they did these little when it first aired live, they did these little shorts during the commercial, which followed like 2 characters that were on a plane. And
I'll have to check that out. They're probably on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I think they are. Those were really solid, really good.
Oh,
I'll have
little
to check those
web
out.
shorts.
Yeah.
Before we get too far, bouncing back to gaming really quick, specifically retro gaming, because you were talking about the dig and stuff. 2 quick things. Number 1, we had the re-release of Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
I bought my physical copy from Limited Run Games.
Yeah, complete edition.
That will be delivered in 2 years.
Because that was it was basically unavailable for
8 years or something.
Jesus, yeah.
We had pulled from the PlayStation Network in 2012.
Yeah, we had our copy on the PS3. But I remember we played it, and it was hard. Maybe we just suck at brawlers now, but it was hard as shit.
Did you pick it up?
The new one? No.
Yeah,
not yet.
I bought the cheapest slimline Switch copy that I could, but I wanted a physical copy this time because I don't want these shenanigans happening again.
You know, trust it. This is the feeling, the tightness in my chest that I get whenever I'm trying to switch things over to digital and streaming, whatever, because it's only there for as long as those servers are there, or as long as they choose to keep it open. That's why it took me forever to let go of my
PT scarred me.
It took me forever to get rid of my Wall O DVDs, even though they were all just collecting dust. Now they're sitting in,
Don't worry, I'll pick them up for you.
CD binders, but yeah.
You'll see my wall of DVDs behind me in a few months.
There you go.
It's actually my tower of DVDs.
Nice. There you
go.
I
haven't completely moved into my new spot in my sister's place.
I see that Lord of the Rings trilogy from a mile away.
Oh yeah.
Stick it out.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like they just came out with the UHD, the Blu-ray version, which is supposed to be like miles ahead of the Blu-ray version.
My buddy Seth, we were texting a couple weeks ago, and he was just said it is mind-blowing the new Lord of the Rings trilogy, how it looks now, and it's 4K release, right?
Yeah, I watched.
Can I just mention real quick that as of this year, Fellowship of the Ring is 20 fucking years old already.
We old.
We fucking old.
That's nuts.
Where did you see it, Tony? Did you see it opening night?
No, honestly, I don't recall. I'm not sure if I saw any of them except Return of the King in theaters.
Really?
I don't have any recollection of seeing Fellowship or Two Towers in the theaters. Return of the King, I saw first in the theaters on a random ass date that shortly before me and Meg were a thing. This random person that I went on one singular movie date with, and it was just weird and awkward. We ate at Subway beforehand, and I got the
Which theater was it?
I think it was the Palm Promenade AMC.
Okay.
Yeah, I just recall being totally like zero charisma and eating this fucking giant meatball marinara.
Oh, okay.
Just messy, like a child eating spaghetti. Just fucking a mess. And then watching this long ass movie in the theaters, which I love, but it did not make for an exciting date night.
I saw the second and third ones opening night. I saw the second one with Elsbeth, Eric, and Justin at the AMC Mission Valley.
Oh, wow.
At like 1 a.m. So we were there until 5 in the morning.
Oh, God.
I think I saw mine at our only multiplex theater that was left in our town at that time. Because we had one theater that was a single screen and that played whatever the major movie was. And then we had this brand new theater that had taken over for our two smaller theaters that had shut down like right before this one had opened. So we only had basically the one theater with stadium seats. Ooh, the new stadium seating.
Ooh.
I
Nice.
remember seeing one of the films with you, Byron, and I remember the theater was like completely packed, and
I think it was Return of the King.
yeah, and one of our friends had to sit on the stairs because it was so full. Remember that? You were wearing your Smashing Pumpkins jacket that you made.
0. Nice. Did we, Byron? I think we went in a big group for Batman Begins.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also at the AMC 24 in Mission Valley.
Yeah. I think that was a midnight show.
Yeah. We went to a lot. Oh, Dawn of the Dead. Did you go to Dawn of the Dead there?
I think so.
I think so.
It's a good one.
Anyways.
Speaking of that, actually, I saw, I don't know if there's a new trailer out or I just saw a bunch of like screenshots of all the actors for Snyder's Army of the Dead. It's been announced for Netflix for fucking ever, but I think it's finally going to come out.
Is that a spiritual sequel to his Dawn of the Dead, or is it completely
Maybe?
It's an actual.
I don't know if they've said
Oh, it's an actual sequel?
Oh, it is directly in the same zombie universe?
Yeah, I think so.
So weird rebooted Romero zombie
I don't know.
universe. Yeah. Is it a sequel to Day of the Dead? Like,
I don't know. Well, it's the story. It's a heist movie within taking place in the zombie apocalypse. And you got all these big, military looking dudes. Freaking Dave Bautista's in there. And random like Tig Notaro's in there. Just
gotta love Tig.
And that screenshot of her
awesome
looked
cast.
She looked badass.
She looks incredible, yeah.
She looked like fucking Tom Cruise in Top Gun on that.
Whoever saw her coming as like the next big like action movie star. I love it. I'm totally down for it, but I did not see that coming.
I love it. I love when you get people who start out in comedy and that's how people see them, and then somebody takes a chance on them or they just create their own project.
Hey,
and
Jim was almost Captain America, so
yeah, that's true. You would have got a lot of like looks at the camera.
Hydra, right?
Yeah, whatever Tony
Is
Stark
that America's
that's some
ass?
shit. Yeah,
Put the Tesseract in Jello.
Yeah. On top of a mega desk. So great.
Red Skull's just like, Steve.
There was one more. One more, and I'll let the gaming shit go. Have you heard of Virtuaverse?
Virtuaverse?
So Meg threw on a random YouTube station for like retrowave stuff just to have in the background the last couple days.
Yeah.
And they usually play some like looped animation or something. Well, this station, they did that for the most part, but then it cut to some like advertisement, it seemed. But I mean, it looked all retro. It looked like those pixel art games that you see on Steam or GOG or something. Mm-hmm. And it was actually, as the retro wave music was continuing to play, they were playing a trailer for this game, a little indie game on Steam called Virtuaverse. I think it's on Steam and GOG, pretty much everywhere. But it's essentially a pixel art version of Cyberpunk. Like it's just a super in-depth cyberpunk adventure, like point and click adventure game, all pixel art, and it looks amazing. And I just checked quick reviews and everybody said it's incredible. It's said it's incredibly difficult as far as without a guide, because the point and click adventure games, like you can get lost very easily and not know what the next step to do is. But it looks incredible. It looks amazing. And like it comes with the whole soundtrack and everything looks great. So if you are forlorn and depressed about Cyberpunk being horribly broken, for now you can check out Virtuaverse. And I haven't played it yet, so I can't do an official review, but it's looking pretty awesome. I'm probably gonna pick that up.
If you're looking for like a platformer or something that's a little more casual, actually no, these aren't really casual games, but if you're looking for something more in that vein of art style, two games that I find on Steam that are really good indie games are Fury and Hyper Light Drifter, both kind of in that.
Hyper Light Drifter is
Hyper
very
Light
good.
Drifter.
I definitely, I've heard good things about Fury too.
Yeah. Sweet. Okay. All right. Moving on to some more movie news / rumors, because so much of this shit is like insiders say that blah 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 blah. But I think one of the big ones that everybody's talking about this week is Spider-Man 3. The Charlie Cox / Daredevil. Will he? Won't he? Is he actually in the damn movie or not?
I mean, it seems pretty clear that at this point that he is.
There are reports saying that he was spotted around the set or something, and other reports saying like, "Oh,
and it's been rumored now for like 6 months. When a rumor is this pervasive, and I mean, it almost. I mean, look at Luke. There were rumors about Luke for weeks leading up to the Mandalorian, and then turned out to be true.
Yeah. And with the rest of the Defenders, people have been throwing around the idea of Kristen Ritter coming back as Jessica Jones in She-Hulk. Which I mean,
yes, please,
she would fit in there. You know?
Yeah, that would work perfectly.
I mean, they're a natural team up.
Poor Luke Cage, though.
Yeah,
he doesn't
Luke
really
Cage
have anybody.
just got the short shrift about all of this. I mean,
yeah, I really enjoyed it. It left kind of awkward. Well, I guess it left on a cliffhanger because he kind of went dark side at the end. And
he became what he was fighting.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what everybody was warning him about.
Yeah. I guess there's the potential of them coming back for another Defenders series where they resolve that arc, but
I doubt it.
I highly doubt that's going to happen.
Yeah, more likely you might just see them sprinkled in, just like Charlie Cox and Spider-Man, for example.
Well, and supposedly Iron Fist and is going to come back in either Shang-Chi or a team-up movie with Shang-Chi and Iron Fist.
Just recast it, please.
Does he need
please
to?
Recast it.
I mean, I'm down with Colleen.
I would imagine they most likely will recast it because he just did not work.
Well, it's not just him. He didn't put the time in for the fighting training. Him and the fight coordinator for both seasons and the Defenders was fucking garbage. The amount of cuts they did during the fight scenes was just ridiculous. Like, I think there was one the like kitchen scene where they were fighting in the back stock room of a kitchen, and in a like 2.5 minute scene there was something like 60 cuts. If you have to cut 60 times in 2.5 minutes, what the fuck are you even doing a fighting movie for?
Have you ever seen that Patrick H. Willems video where he breaks down one 10-second scene in Taken where there's something like 200 cuts? It's not 200 cuts, I'm exaggerating, but it's way too many cuts for a 10-second clip.
Too many cuts. That actually reminds me of the story from Army of Darkness, where at the in the final big battle, the storming the castle, Ash is fighting evil Ash or bad Ash or whatever, and it's this big sword fight, and Sam Raimi wanted to have this one long cut, especially when they're like clashing swords while like walking up these steps, and Bruce could not do it for the life of him. He could not get the choreography down. So after several takes, Sam like just crapping all over him on the set, like on the bullhorn in front of everybody, like, fine, we'll do this one by one. Like,
oh, and isn't there's a new Ash game coming out?
Yeah, it's Evil Dead game coming.
I'm excited. I didn't realize that I wanted that, but now now that I heard about it, I'm like, actually, that sounds great.
Dana De Lorenzo will be back as Kelly Maxwell.
Did you ever
The
play
character-
the PS2 game or the Xbox game, the multiplayer Ash game?
No. Any good?
Fistful of Boomstick, I think it was called.
I remember hearing about it, but I never had a chance to
It was
play
so it was supposedly really good. It's one of those games that is like a really good multi-plat game, but finding a copy now is very, very difficult.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Anything PS2 era, that's going to be a little
Well,
rough.
it's like the Buffy game. The Buffy game is actually really good too. There were two of them, and both of them are really well done because, nerds make good, or who are interested in games make good games. Well,
I think we had the conversation maybe a month or so back about the X-Files game, the X-Files PS2
Oh
game.
yeah, it's great. Resist and Serve.
Yeah, I never had a chance to play that.
If you ever see a copy, grab it.
I did grab
send
on
it to me.
I did grab a copy on GOG of the Blade Runner game, which I've heard nothing but praises
that's
for that.
a Westwood game. That game is phenomenal. And there's a studio trying to remaster that version.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Moving on. Chris Evans. Reportedly in talks to return as Cap once again.
I honestly,
Why?
I would love that. I love Chris Evans as Cap.
I do too.
I really think that he was starting to get the character down.
Yeah.
Amazingly, and then he left the franchise. And
Well,
there's so many other amazing Cap stories that you can tell.
Yeah, I
bring him back and do Secret Empire. Honestly, I would love to see Secret Empire.
I think the worry is that
give me Hydra Cap.
Yeah, I think the worry is that, and Chris Evans himself has said this, which especially when they were wrapping up, he wouldn't want to diminish the ending of Cap that they did in Endgame. Like he said, it just he had his story arc, which was kind of tricky to crack, and he believes they did it as perfectly as they could, and coming back in any form would just kind of diminish or take away from that. Which I saw my old buddy Hector on Twitter posted about a comic run, Man Out of Time, which is probably the one that makes the most sense with him in the parallel timeline or in the past, obviously
living through events that he knows he can't take part in.
Yeah, or finding a way to do so that doesn't wreck things further in the timeline or what have you. But he obviously, him being Steve Rogers, he couldn't stand by while shit was unfolding, and he had the power to stop things. It would probably be just watching that parallel universe play out in the different.
So if that was the case, who are we going to listen to? Are we going to listen to the writers or the directors?
Wow.
Because they have competing methodology on where Cap is during all of this. Because the writers said that the reason we never saw Peggy Carter's husband was because it was Cap the whole time. Where the directors say Cap doesn't exist in this timeline at all.
Right. I love Infinity War and Endgame, but don't try to make sense of the time shenanigans.
Yeah.
It's like trying to make sense of Doctor Who. Like, just don't. Just don't.
Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey bullshit.
Exactly. Yeah. That was another headline that Jodie Whittaker might be finishing up on Who, which I just caught up and watched her stuff, which...
Didn't she only last like 2 seasons?
Yeah. Well, this will be season 3 that she's coming back to.
Okay.
Which I've been enjoying it. I
mean, 3 seems to be what they do, right? 3 seasons.
Tenet
did 5.
Yeah, he did 5.
Yeah. But what's his name? Only did 3, I think.
Matt Smith
did 3, I think.
3 or
maybe it was 4.
I think it might have been 4.
Chris Eccleston only did 1.
Yeah. He
Bad Wolf.
Capaldi only do 2?
I think so.
What's that?
Didn't Capaldi only do 2?
Yeah, that feels right.
I want to say he did 3 actually. Could be
I
wrong.
still
Anyway.
prefer. I mean, Tenet's great. I still love Eccleston.
Yeah,
First
yeah,
Doctor's
he's
always
still John.
your
He had
favorite.
he came out later talking about he had some personal issues. It was partly he didn't feel in love with the part as you know a lot of other doctors have been. You know, he kind of felt like he wasn't right for it. But also he struggled with some personal issues. He had eating disorder. He had a lot of shit he was going through at the time, and so took part in his bowing out. But I think in that same interview he said like, oh yeah, like looking back on it now, it would have been nice to embrace it more. And if he ever,
My dog is barking in his sleep.
oh,
It's very cute.
anyway, other rumors that Michael B. Jordan would somehow be returning in Black Panther 2.
It's a multiverse. So that was the big thing is Black Panther was supposed to be the cap of this next few phases of Marvel. So without him, they have to scramble. So I think that's why they were possibly bringing Cap back, Chris Evans back.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, we know there's going to be likely multiverse shenanigans in Spider-Man and Strange too.
well, this whole phase is well.
Yeah,
and Wanda.
I agree. We're probably going to get a lot of like we said, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey bullshit in here.
Yeah,
with different versions of characters popping up.
Yeah, anything's possible.
Or just
Anything's
like side stories, monster of the week shit.
Yeah. Yep.
That's how we could get. I mean, that's actually how we could get Hydra Cap.
Yeah, that could be fun. I think if Chris Evans does come back, I hope it's with some sort of alternate universe stuff like that. Just fun little side things, kind of like the What If show that's going to be coming.
Well, supposedly he is doing an episode of What If.
Yeah, for sure.
So we had a bit of casting news for Thor 4. Matt Damon.
That's cool. I saw that earlier today. That's pretty fun.
Matt Damon.
I did not see that. Matt Damon.
Well, he was already in the last one.
He played the actor playing Loki.
That's true.
So they have not said what role he is cast for. We don't know if he's resuming his role as the actor.
That'd be funny if they just made him somehow a main character. that the actor from.
I read a piece of trivia today that James Cameron offered Matt Damon 10% of the gross for Avatar to play Sam.
Wow.
Damn.
Or to play whatever his name was, Sam Worthington's character.
Yeah.
And he was already locked into doing Climby Guy.
Climby Guy.
Jason Bourne.
Jason Bourne. He was already doing the second Jason Bourne movie, and he was like, I already made a commitment to Greengrass, so that I think he probably wishes he had taken that couple $100 million.
I wanted to love the Bourne movies, but if they could have dialed the shaky cam down just like 50%, they would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, just like JJ and dialing back on the lens flare generators.
The future is so bright we can't keep it in the frame.
I hate that even in Discovery we still get the JJ fucking lens flare. Like, you're on the bridge. Why can I not see your eyes? There shouldn't be so much lens flare on the bridge that I cannot see your face.
Yeah, it's not as bad, but it's definitely still there. That's
well. I read this thing a couple years ago that the producers of Discovery, Alex Kurtzman is the head guy for Star Trek now, and he wanted to keep a visual consistency between the movies. And
which makes
or at least a visual language between the movies and the new TV show. So fans who were coming from the movies would feel at home in the TV shows.
Yeah.
By the way, Byron,
Makes sense.
did you watch the season finale? I don't want to spoil anything for Tony. I just want
I
to
did, yeah.
talk.
It's
What-
on my to-do list for my vacation. I will catch up.
Well,
what
how
were
about
the
this?
What were the fucking dimensions in that one scene that I won't talk about? What was going on with that?
Okay, well, you know what?
Which scene?
The turbo lift scene.
Oh yeah.
What the fuck was going on with that?
Apparently the inside of Discovery is the size of Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, what the shit?
I mean,
as soon as I
it's the same as
the
the internals of the JJ prize, you know.
well, at least those
They
kind of
shot
made
it at
sense.
a brewery.
Yeah, those kind of made sense with the tubes and all that running through engineering. Okay, I can get that. But that was cavernous.
Yeah, no, it was pretty comically oversized. So Tony, what we should do is when you finish Star Trek, we'll just have an entire Star Trek episode.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so yeah, we need to talk about WandaVision. Number one, yes, Todd, go ahead.
So those ads were amazing for multiple reasons. A, they were just good, clean 70s commercial fun. And B, they were moments reliving her trauma. So the first one was
Strucker.
well, the first one
Oh
or
shit!
the
Yeah.
second.
the first one
Wait, what?
was they were moments
Tony.
reliving her trauma. So the first one was Stark Industries. And if you remember, the Stark bomb is what killed her parents. And then
Right.
the beeping of it not going off, they were saying they were sitting in their home, not knowing when it was going to explode.
Oh my God. I did
Wow, I did not pick up on that.
not. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
That added like a whole new layer to this.
Oh,
Whoa.
fuck. I love I saw headlines earlier, but of like, oh, all the Easter eggs included in Wanda, but I didn't bother to click on them.
Well, it didn't seem like there were too many. There were
there were
a
lot.
decent amount, but
Well, there was also the Hydra watch
The
commercial.
Hydra watch.
yeah, the Strucker. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was more obvious.
Okay,
Yeah.
number one, I love all of that. Number two, I love the slow burn that how in it they are. Like, it's not just a subtle like wink and nod like this shit is happening.
I
but
didn't realize they were actually gonna have the structure of a sitcom.
Yeah, it's just full blown. I think I read somewhere that the producer or director actually went and met with Dick Van Dyke and just had a little sit down with him just to make
Sitcom
sure they were getting the vibe
Not
right.
only that, but the set designers. So one of my favorite interactions that I've ever read on Reddit happened after the trailer came out for this. Architecture and interior design nerds were going crazy for this because apparently even the set dressing and the furniture that they used was rare, like vintage 70s, like super expensive like furniture that even collectors struggle to find. So
wow.
Damn.
they went
All that Marvel
deep
money.
into the detail for this.
Well, I mean, yeah, we talk about Marvel money, but did you see how the credits are almost as long as the episode
Yeah, no
itself?
shit.
Yes. Now
It's
I
like-
had kind of a different feel. I am a little indifferent on whether or not I liked it or disliked it. I think I was just put off because I didn't really know exactly what it was going to be. And like I didn't know the premise of the show except for the fact that it's Wanda and Vision. And the episode as it's going along is still not giving you a whole lot of story.
There's not a lot of plot.
It's like
very
zero plot, and again, it was such a slow burn. I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Like, I don't understand what's happening. Therefore, I couldn't really enjoy it too much because I'm just waiting for a shoe to fall or
So
something.
what it is, Meg, is it's Wanda in her mind trying to cope.
Yeah, well, we kind of like on the second episode, we were kind of like, this has to be a simulation of sorts. you know, because there's the fuzzy bits with the radio, and then there's those certain moments where they're kind of zoning out and then they snap back into it.
The glitches in the Matrix.
Yeah, exactly. And so once we kind of got more of that, then I started enjoying the show because I'm like, wow, what's going to happen? Like, what's going on? But I think initially, like, my first reaction right out of the gate was just like, I don't know what this is. I love the sets. I love the costumes. I love the throwback. I love all of that stuff. But in terms of story, there isn't one. So I'm not really enjoying it. And then they start kind of bringing in those little flakes of her subconscious, like, breaking. And so that's when I started to really kind of enjoy it a little bit more.
Well, it seems like I assume. Well, Todd, you said she's escaped into her mind trying to cope, but to me, it seemed she's trapped in this simulation somewhere. Somebody's doing this to her, and therefore the voice on the radio, somebody trying to break through. Wanda, who's doing this to you? Blah blah blah.
I think that's intentional at this point. I think they're trying to ride this line of, is this something that's being done to her, or is she doing it herself? I mean, from a comics standpoint, given meta knowledge of storylines of Wanda in the past, I'm going to agree with Todd on this one. I'm fairly sure that she has constructed this reality, because we also have to remember she died too. So, like, not only did her lover die permanently and never and well, I mean, who knows with the show, but she also was snapped. So
yeah, but
that's
she
pretty
came back,
traumatic.
though.
Yeah, but still, I mean, disappearing into nothingness is probably pretty traumatic, I'm guessing.
Especially for one of the most.
Look at Peter Parker. He dusted that shit off. Like, he popped right in there. Golly gee, I'm back, you guys.
Especially for one of the most powerful mutants in the universe. Like, that's got to do something to her mind.
Definitely. Well, and also, so one of the things that this storyline seems to be a loose adaptation of 3 specific storylines from the comics. And the first is House of M. Do you know anything about House of M?
Did you see the little cameo they did to, like,
the wine label? Yeah, they had, so the House of M, the wine label, it has the M, the Magneto M.
Oh, okay.
From the House of M.
And the name of the wine is
like
Chateau M something.
Yeah. So in House of M.
Sorry, but by the way, did you catch Anya from Buffy?
I did, actually.
Emma
I did
Caulfield?
catch Anya.
Yeah.
It was bugging me for a second, and I was like, wait a second. And then I looked it up, and sure enough, it's her.
Yeah.
Good for her. I'm glad to see that she's still active. So House of M, and then Steve Englehart's 1985 series, The Vision and the Scarlet Witch, which is them moving to suburbia and effectively, like, living out suburban lifestyle in, G-Shucks 1980s Reagan's America, while fighting supervillains. And then the most recent, and it seems to be getting the darker sort of take on, is Tom King's The Vision, which is his run from 2016, which is really good. I'm reading that at the moment. And it seems to be a loose sort of mix of all 3 of these stories, to have sort of I mean, I have a pretty good idea where I think it's headed. And if it is going where I think it is, oh man, it's going to get pretty dark.
Yeah. I do love the I appreciate the slow burn, and I
do
like
too. I really like it. I think it's really
how
good.
invested they are in the entire vibe, the sitcom format and everything. Like every iota of this, they are locked into that imaginary world, to the point where it's so jarring when you do get those little hints of the sinister underbelly of what's going on. And probably the most effective one, I think, was I don't know the actress's name off the top of my head, so I'm going to say Kitty from that 70s show. When she's acting like a dementia patient or something while her husband's choking on the ground, just like, oh, knock it off. Stop it.
Professor from The Mummy.
That moment was really, really good. It was very effective.
Yeah.
So creepy.
Uh-huh.
I love the neighbor though. I forget her name in real life.
Oh, Catherine Hahn, I think.
Catherine Hahn, yeah, she's fantastic. I'm pretty sure that she has a significant element to do with this all these shenanigans.
I think she's probably the villain. Honestly,
I think she's probably the villain too.
So it looks, well, I like that even though they seem to be jumping through eras, because when they started out, it was very I Love Lucy. It was very 50s.
Very 50s.
Then they shot over to more 60s,
late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah, Dick Van Dyke-ish. She gets like, pants.
And the Bewitched intro.
Oh, it was so amazing.
That was great. And the animation segments, those were effective. When Vision literally gets gum stuck in the works.
Gum in the gears,
That's so good.
Drunk Vision was amazing. That was just so good.
Yeah.
Did anybody else?
Paul Bettany, Did
anybody else get like a little bit of David Bowie vibe from Bettany playing that right there?
A little bit, yeah, I did.
Paul Bettany is Bowie doing a biopic?
Well, tall.
He's a little old for the role, but he could do
tall,
80s
scrawny,
and 90s era Bowie.
Tall, scrawny, pale British dude. I mean, it works.
Thin White Duke.
Yeah.
I really do think it's impressive. Marvel and Kevin Feige have had so many successes at this point that they really do have the capital to be able to take big swings right now. And this seems like a definite, because this is the type of show that could open up the MCU to a larger fan base because of the type of stories that they're telling, and the format. It's not big action set pieces, at least not yet. I think they have the ability to take really big risks, and this is exactly the type of thing that they should be doing. It's the type of stories that Marvel told in the 80s and the 90s that were so effective, and later revisited in the 2000s to great success with Ultimate Line and stuff like that. I think these are exactly the types of stories they need to be telling right now, and I'm really, really impressed by this show.
Yeah, for sure. Do we know, with your comics knowledge, do we know who potentially the Beekeeper is?
There's some speculation that it might be Swarm. I don't really think that's a little too on the nose as far as I'm concerned. I think the Beekeeper is probably I honestly don't. It's a little too esoteric for me to really guess. It feels like a lost misdirection,
Yeah,
like the polar bear or something.
Smoke monster.
Yeah, I think it was just a smoke monster. Really, she completely noped it out of existence. So I think it was just.
He was wearing a sword logo on his back though, and
and the people on the outside that were manning the switchboard and watching the television.
Yeah, their pamphlet also had the sword logo on it, and sword is sort of the in the comics it's the intergalactic version of SHIELD. In the MCU, supposedly it's already been referenced, and it has a different acronym than the MCU or than the comics version. That's what
Chloe Bennett was doing at the end of
Agents of SHIELD. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I would imagine that it's sort of just like a reformed SHIELD, because SHIELD sort of went the way of the dodo. Got some Hydra in there and couldn't get it out.
Yeah.
You need a Roto-Rooter.
When they did zoom out to the the people at the controls and everything. I mean, the controls outside of this simulation or whatever the hell, even those looked very retro. I mean, it looked like
So I
it looked like the opening zoom of Fallout.
It did.
I think what might be happening is I think that Wanda might actually be transmitting her thoughts to an actual physical television.
Yeah.
All right.
And it
I
probably
think
has
it
to do
goes
with
so many
growing up
different ways.
in Sokovia, watching American sitcoms on television.
That was her coping mechanism, basically.
Exactly.
Right,
So it's probably tied to some of her trauma, and I would not be surprised if we see another Maximoff at some point.
Yeah, it would be a good cameo for him.
Quicksilver.
There's also rumors that if you remember the 2 commercials, it was the same actors for both. Those could be her parents.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's a good
Oh,
one.
I didn't notice that.
Huh.
There's also some other speculation that the various characters that we've seen thus far, that some of them are actually, and it would be direct references to that Steve Englehart 1985 Vision and Scarlet Witch run that I was talking about. Supposedly there's like 6 of them or 7 supposedly, and there's 7 characters in this run that end up being secret supervillains, not including the African American woman we saw, because there has been some meta knowledge in the trades of we actually know who that is. Have you heard about this?
No. Speculation or confirmed?
It's
pretty much confirmed.
It's pretty much confirmed that it's
Monica
Rambeau, who was in Next Wave Agents of Hate and was actually technically the first female Captain Marvel, also named Photon in other comics. But we've already seen her. She was in Captain Marvel. She was in the movie. She was the young girl.
Right. Yeah, I was
Captain
going to
Marvel.
say that name sounded familiar.
So supposedly the idea is that she became a sword agent, and she is deep undercover in Wanda's mind. And that's why she doesn't know, because when we first see her, she's like, how did I get here? Or she's like, or they ask her, who are you? And she's like, I don't know.
Where are we from? What is our story?
Interesting.
Where are we from? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right.
A+, can't wait till next week.
Well,
so which I'm curious, which episodes did you prefer?
Yeah, I love both of them, but the second one I think was better.
I think the second one was better.
I mean,
too.
Drunk Vision. I don't know if you can top Drunk Vision. Paul Bettany's pretty.
And it really is. They lucked out that they got to such perfect performers for these roles. I mean, she's really killing it as this iteration of the character. She is absolutely knocking.
She is channeling Lucille Ball to a T.
Absolutely. Her voice, the inflection that she has, that sitcom actress inflection is so perfect.
The facial
100%.
expression.
It's very, very 50s, just getting away, transitioning out of the full-fledged like transatlantic accent of the like 30s and 40s films. Like it's so spot on. I recognize that. I was like, holy shit, that's crazy.
Who sort of looks a little bit out of sorts is Paul Bettany. He was good in the second episode, but it seems like I've never seen him do comedy before, and he's doing a good job, but it seems like he's not as comfortable doing the comedy as he is doing drama.
Yeah, I would say that, but he did serviceably. He did really well.
He's doing a good job, but I think she is so good
that she's carrying it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think I kind of chalked it up to just his portrayal of Vision kind of being, the sort of bumbly robot trying to be
Yeah.
human, you know. I don't think it's so much of him being shaky with comedy as the character being shaky
With
with
everything.
It,
That's true.
being a person, yeah, with everything.
Also, because how is he even alive? Is he alive? Like, I mean, can you
I think he's just a
Can you-
construct in her mind.
pull
Yeah.
blood from a stone?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Wibbly wobbly,
Yeah.
Jeremy Blair me.
And
Yeah.
and long term, if they're going where, because so at the end of the second episode, it reveals that she's pregnant, and
Right.
that significantly hints towards the future of the storyline, because that leads directly into the Steve Englehart 1985 story, but also directly into House of M.
Mhm.
House of M has
Because the-
huge
the-
implications.
Huge implications. And
So what? Sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
So what shows do you think they're going to be emulating for the next era? It would be the 70s.
I would imagine TGIF comedies.
Mm.
So like Step by Step,
I think the next one is going to be
or maybe even a certain other show that maybe two young starlets may have grown up on.
Full House might be a little too on the nose, but
Well, those are 90s. It looks like they were heading into like
yes,
70s era.
70s
next.
era
I
is
mean, if they're-
next. So I think they're probably going to go like a Leave It to Beaver kind of thing.
Well, even Leave It to Beaver was 50s.
Yeah, true.
70. I mean, 70s.
Oh,
looking at
Brady Bunch.
Brady Bunch.
Yeah, Brady Bunch.
Brady Bunch. Yeah. In fact, from the trailers, you can see that their home looks almost identical to the Brady's home.
What if they just went straight All in the Family and they had somebody being yeah, I don't know. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to see.
No, but eventually I would imagine Step by Step or TGIF era Full House.
Hmm.
Full House, like you said, might be a little too on the nose, but
Yeah.
but they've even said that they're going to emulate Modern Family eventually.
Really?
Yeah, that's going to be the last one,
Oh,
or the
wow.
most recent one is going to be Modern Family.
Oh, geez.
Oh, they even said that they're gonna ape The Office as well.
Oh my god.
That one will be a vision.
Do you think Wanda watched? Do you think Wanda was a big John Krasinski fan?
Maybe. Oh man, if Rainn Wilson shows up.
You know, Rainn Wilson he would make a pretty great Marvel villain as somebody like the
Oh.
Thinker or
Oh
something.
god, yeah. Huh?
I don't know, date Mike.
Makes a date Mike. Oh man. What did I just see him in? Oh, he was in Discovery, of course. He
Discovery, yeah.
he was
as
Mud.
Harcourt Fenton Mudd.
That was a great episode. Him taking over the ship.
You don't forget to watch the short treks because he's in a really good short trek too.
Oh, geez. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll have to check those out too.
Aw,
So much
man.
homework for me on my vacation. Huh.
I'm just realizing now we won't see his character.
Yeah, we won't see him ever again.
Damn.
Well, I mean, that's never say never with
True,
Star Trek.
true.
Yeah.
But most likely, yeah, I don't think we're going to see Mudd anytime soon. Well, we might see him in Strange New Worlds.
True. Yeah. Oh, yes. Good point.
Right timeline.
Good point.
It would be a little awkward because he'd be like, I've been on this ship before.
All right.
What are little girls made of?
That's a creepy ass
Yeah.
line.
That's the episode. That's the episode that he's in. He's got robot whores.
Between Walking Dead, between Star Wars, Marvel, all of these interconnected universes is it's too much.
And the end of the Snyderverse too.
And the end, oh yeah. Well, that's they were there was back and forth this week, people freaking out over like how long is it, how much is it going to be, and I guess they reiterated it's a 4-hour movie event. But I think beforehand, Zack Snyder said, "Oh, it could be up to like a 6-hour miniseries or something like that." But then they reversed course on that and said, "No, it's like a 4-hour movie is what they're shooting for."
Okay.
I mean,
Because
fine.
I've always wanted to watch The Godfather as a DC movie. Ugh.
That seems like with all of he's been trying to Godfather all of his superhero movies, and to varying degrees of success.
Well, and even Batman versus Superman pretty much was just an extension of Man of Steel as it is.
Yeah. I still love that first Man of Steel.
Man of Steel's good. It's a good movie. I rewatched it recently, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think the action scene at the end is about 25 minutes too long.
Yeah, the
rest of the movie
disaster
is good.
porn there. Like, we can only watch so much 9/11 times 100.
Yeah,
Like, literally all of Metropolis.
it
being
gets grating
destroyed.
towards the end, and his minions, like, they don't really add anything to the fight. Richard Schiff is in the movie for like 10 minutes, and then he dies.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, in other news of big bads, Thrawn, who we've been guessing about, apparently, I don't know if it's actually confirmed or just rumors, but the headlines were thrown around. Lars Mikkelsen, who voiced Thrawn in Rebels, supposedly being confirmed to play him live
Mads
action.
Mikkelsen?
What's that?
Mads Mikkelsen?
Lars Mikkelsen.
Oh, is that his brother?
I don't think there's a relation. I actually looked it up.
Oh.
So I was like, who Lars? Who's this? But I looked up, and apparently, he actually
fits the
voiced
look.
he voiced Thrawn in Rebels.
Yeah, the voice fits, but he also fits the look. He's very tall, thin, lanky looking dude.
Yeah,
I could see that.
He's
Yeah,
got it.
I'm looking at a picture of him.
Yeah,
So he has been cast?
it's rumored so far, I
okay.
believe. Some, depending on which version of which news site you go to, they'll say, "Oh yeah, it's confirmed," and others say it's rumored. So that's like,
Did you see the rumors that all of the Mandalorian is leading to a direct adaptation of the Heir to the Empire
Heir to
trilogy?
the Empire? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think that is a pretty significant rumor.
yeah.
Well,
they're definitely doing I mean, it's clear they're doing some version of I mean, Thrawn is obviously the big bad to come.
Yeah.
Which it's probably
I mean,
they're all leading, all these shows are going to lead to.
Would we get Luke then?
There was other like
Doris.
there were geek hopes out there that knowing that it's expensive and complicated to get Luke Skywalker to keep showing up. There people were speculating like, oh well, you got to have some other escort to bring Grogu back along for the ride. So could we possibly get Mara Jade at some point, maybe?
Well, and if you think about it, Ezra is out there somewhere.
Yeah,
he could fight Joris Kaboth. Boeth.
Saboeth.
And that plays into the rumors and hearsay out there that
Salamiri.
That Ahsoka's show is essentially just going to be a full-blown Rebels sequel. So we'll see Sabine, we'll see the search for Ezra.
That would make sense.
Play out, and this all culminate with
Thrawn.
Thrawn.
I do think an Heir to the Empire trilogy would be amazing. First off,
it would be great, but they'd have to rewrite so much of it to fit in with the canon.
Yeah, I mean, very loose adaptation.
I feel like they could do it though. I mean, it's the Imperial Remnant is still.
It still exists, but in the new movieverse, the Republic takes a very much backseat when it comes to the military.
Yeah.
There are no major fleets. Like now there's one defensive fleet that covers the main home world of Hosnian Prime. They don't have like the 3rd, the 5th, the 7th Fleet. You don't have all of that. You don't have Admiral Akbar and Home One going out with Han Solo and hunting down.
So now you
space
have
pirates.
Rangers of the New Republic who do the peacekeeping. So
Yeah,
so
you have a couple of X-wings.
X-wing pilots have taken over for the Jedi apparently.
Pretty much, that's what it sounds like.
Let's see. Oh, back in the Marvel biz, Ethan Hawke apparently joining as the big bad in Moon Knight.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. You know, I still am a little sad that Ethan Hawke didn't get Doctor Strange.
He would have been a good Doctor Strange for
because
sure.
I actually think, especially with the type of work that he's doing now, you know, I really like what's his name?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Benedict Cumberbund.
Bengelberg slapped you back.
But Ethan Hawke, he's got that brooding down in a way that I think that Benedict doesn't really.
Yeah. Benedict does the more cocky thing, which kind of, especially in the MCU, it's just.
See, but in the comics, in the comics,
RDJ
Strange isn't just Tony Stark too. He's a very different, he's much more thoughtful than Tony is.
Yeah, and after in the origin movie, it really just was kind of, for me, it was underwhelming because it's like, oh, it's just Tony Stark the sequel. Diet Tony Stark, you know.
I thought he was more of a dick than Tony ever was.
Yeah.
He really is, sort of. He's less likable than Tony ever was. That's
exactly.
For sure.
Yeah.
Tony was trying to be funny and likable.
See, and that's what I'm saying is if they had focused on him being more like depressed and sullen all the time, I think he would have had a little bit more of a unique characteristic to him, more of a sort of a tragic figure rather than like we said, Diet Tony Stark.
Yeah. Tony Stark 10.
Now with less daddy issues.
Yeah. He was just the what is it? What's the
Have they said who the villain is going to be?
No, just speculation. I'm not that familiar with Moon Knight.
That Moon Knight show is going to be amazing. Have y'all ever read the Warren Ellis Moon Knight run from a few years ago?
I'm completely ignorant on Moon Knight, but I know Todd is super excited about this show.
It's great. It pretty much the way that it works is Warren Ellis takes all of the main the three main approaches to the character that have existed for the last like 40 years, and he integrates all three of the major different takes on the character into one maxi character. So he acknowledges all of the previous histories of Moon Knight and ties them into the story of the book. And so it's a really good primer for the character because you get introductions to all of his different backstories.
Yeah,
and you get a really great Moon Knight story.
I did glance at an article that was talking about that over the years he's had wildly different iterations and different
wild. Yeah, like for a while he was like a James Bond type.
Didn't he take over as Daredevil for a brief bit?
Yeah, he did.
All right. Okay. I think that was all of the Marvel shit that I had going on. Oh, as far as Marvel movies, Kevin Feige came out in a new interview and officially confirmed Deadpool 3 will in fact be part of the MCU proper. So this is officially, we were kind of in limbo, like, wait a minute.
And it'll be R-rated.
Deadpool's owned by Disney now. What's going to happen here? I don't know. But it's going to be in the MCU and it will be rated R.
I sort of always figured that would be the case, just because if you go back on Deadpool R-rated, you're going to piss off the fans so bad. And Deadpool is one of those characters that is so popular and makes them so much money that they can't possibly alienate the fans that way without affecting their cash flow, you know.
That would be
Deadpool cannot exist without an R rating either.
I mean,
He can
I-
exist in the other properties, but him as a solo entity, his movies need to be R.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna say that they're. I would put money on the fact that they're going to introduce Deadpool into the MCU with some very incredibly meta breaking storyline, like Deadpool kills the Marvel universe, or something like that, or Deadpool in Secret Wars, or something like that, where we either you get something really high concept, or you get where like Marvel, where like Deadpool kills the Marvel universe, or something like where they just go through every single existing MCU movie and just imply that he was there the whole time.
With the focus of the new the next phase, including a lot of like monster stories, I think maybe his last run before Secret Wars might be where they
Oh,
go.
Kaiju Killer.
No, with him married to Shikla,
Oh.
the Queen of Monsters,
Hmm.
or the Queen, was it the Queen of Monsters, or the Queen of Vampires? I don't remember.
I didn't read that run, so I'm not sure.
I loved it. I loved it. The art style was amazing. So I don't remember who the artist was on it, but
Regardless of what it ends up, I'm sure it'll be fun because, Ryan Reynolds is a pretty creative guy. So
Yeah. Hey, I don't know if you guys know about this Ryan Reynolds, but I think he's going places. Should keep an eye
I
on
used to
him.
watch him on this TV show, Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place.
Yeah.
Him and Nathan Fillion.
Oh, and that great movie, that great fun Oscar winner, Van Wilder. Yeah, that was wonderful.
He's in an X-Files
work with
episode
custard creams in there.
Which one was he in?
He's in the one where the teenagers are getting abducted and they get the stuff on their back and then they die.
The little two dots.
It's like season 1.
The little 2 dots on the back.
Yeah, the 2 dots.
I don't remember him in that.
Well, not that one. That's the pilot.
Okay.
There's another episode later where the kids are going missing, and anyways, he ends up dying.
Wow. Time for a rewatch. Hey Todd.
What's up?
Lord of the Rings TV show, long gestating Lord of the Rings Amazon show, was officially announced to take place in the Second Age.
Nice.
Yeah. And they released an official synopsis for that. But I guess when we talked before, you said they already knew that it was going to be a prequel show. I didn't even know that. I thought they were just
fans had figured it out based on hints that Amazon had leaked.
Yeah, they had already said they weren't going to do anything with the modern timeline. They couldn't. It was a rights issue with the modern timeline and conflicting with what had already been put out. So they said, okay, so we're not going to deal with that mess. We're just going to go back and we're going to create a brand new story within one of the other earlier ages.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're going to get.
Yeah, even just as we're mentioning earlier in the podcast, even with Fellowship being 20 years ago now, which hurts to say, it still just feels too relevant to just try to reboot that same story like that. It would be, I don't know, to me it just would seem insane to just retread the same old ground. Then again, we've had 1,000 Spider-Men in like 5 years, but
yeah, I mean, as long as they're classics and as long as people keep reading them, there'll be demand for a modern retelling of them. So in 10, 15 years, you don't know, you might see the actual ones. Hell, when I was reading that Lord of the Rings was 20 years old, guess what else is 20 years old?
What?
The first fucking Harry Potter movie is now 20 years old. So
yeah,
like
later this year it will be, yeah.
Yeah, it won't be too much longer before people start saying, "Oh, hey, maybe we start redoing Harry Potter. Maybe we do."
Well, that's already happening. I mean, I was reading in some rumors that they're trying to pitch an adult Harry Potter movie.
Yeah,
with the
Potter
same
as an
actors.
adult, or like a more raunchier version of the current Harry Potter story.
No, it's just
No,
him
not
as
like
an
a-
adult.
like Harry Banger or something.
Those already exist, believe me.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they do.
No,
Supposedly Warner Brothers is interested because Fantastic Beasts has been such a colossal fuck up that they're interested in having new stories with the existing actors, because the actors have all largely gone on to pretty much relative success.
Speaking of
except
Mads
for poor
Mikkelsen
Rupert
earlier,
Grint.
well, he kind of went out on his own terms. He didn't really want to act any further. So he's got a kid now. He's doing his dad thing. But speaking of Mads Mikkelsen earlier, I don't know if it's rumored or official casting, but he is replacing.
Oh, that's official now.
Oh, it's official now?
Yeah.
So in the next Fantastic Beasts, he'll be playing Grindelwald, and replacing.
Are they going to pull a War Machine with
Farrell.
it? This is me. Get over it.
I mean, it's either that, just don't acknowledge it at all, or
I mean,
it's just getting goofier and goofier. They've already had like 1,000 Scooby-Doo reveals with these movies. Like, no, that wasn't my real
supposedly
face.
they actually supposedly they
real face.
actually approached Penguin.
Danny DeVito?
No, from the first Fantastic
Give me that version.
Fantastic Beasts movie.
Colin
Farrell.
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell. Supposedly they approached Colin Farrell and asked to see if he was interested in coming back to take over the character, but he was so busy with Batman that he couldn't.
Oh.
I didn't like Colin Farrell as him. But I also didn't like Johnny Depp either, so I don't really know who would.
I'm just glad that Johnny Depp is gone, honestly.
I just feel like that character was just never really like polished enough, and so therefore no matter who they chose to play it, it just never was gonna feel right.
Yeah, I agree with that. That whole
felt pretty forced.
Bit of them like not like settling on who was the real Grindelwald. I don't know. It was just seemed like a cop out.
Yeah.
Maybe they shouldn't have got the literary author to write a screenplay.
Yeah, I wonder, out of sheer morbid curiosity, if they keep making them and complete the story, I'll probably watch them eventually. But at this point, I'm wondering, like,
I mean, long term, though,
better if you just shuffle those under the rug.
Long term, they're gonna have serious issues with the fandom with J.K. Rowling, because
they already have.
I have
already
personally said that I'm never purchasing any. I will never fill the pockets of J.K. Rowling ever again.
I think they'll still make enough business to keep the train going. Maybe.
I'll go to Universal Orlando, but I will not buy butterbeer.
I think the majority of the casual fans have no idea how much of a scumbag she is, so it'll never really hurt their pocket.
I don't know. I feel like it's fairly decently known at this point, and it will continue to be known because she's not going to stop. She's just going to get worse.
But I mean, 90% of people don't actually use Twitter, so
I don't use Twitter.
Nobody really.
She's eating your. Yeah, I think as much as we like to, or as much as we feel, it feels sometimes that the whole world is clued in.
That's true.
There's a lot of people that
we are on a geek podcast. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that don't spend all day every day on Twitter or on the internet, and shockingly, I know it's crazy.
Scouring the news for any juicy tidbit we can use for our media empire.
Yeah. Not scrolling endlessly on things to be mad about.
I'm mad about you.
So doom scrolling. A couple weeks ago, I just got this picture of like Dr. Doom, just like, ugh, the world.
That's nice.
Yeah. Just like, ugh, what is the United States doing?
You can imagine him just like on the toilet, but like with his mask on, like still in mostly full garb, and just like just scrolling, just mad at the human race. Hey, here's a wacky one. Meg was shocked to hear earlier. Dexter as in Michael C. Hall,
Oh
Dexter,
yeah.
coming back for a limited series.
Okay.
I'm curious to see what happens. Specifically, I was delighted in the interview I read with Michael C. Hall. He was acknowledging, like, yeah, I really hope that we can, wrap things up better than they
Lose the beard.
did. Also, Clancy Brown coming as the main villain.
Yeah. Hey, this
I'm-
takes our Clancy Brown discussion full circle.
I'm down with that. Anytime Mr. Krabs is up on screen, I'm in. So
I
yeah.
mean, still to this day, my favorite role from him is in season 2 of Lost.
Oh God, I don't even remember what.
He's Charlie, or not Charlie. He's the Constant, the guy who's stuck in the hatch. He's his partner.
Yeah.
He's his partner before he took off.
He was? Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
God, I remember almost nothing from that show.
He's only in like 2 episodes, but
Wow. Okay.
maybe 4 total.
I listened to I heard a podcast interview with him recently. I think he was on Marin, and he was talking about how the prison guard role for Shawshank, he thought, he was convinced that he wasn't going to get it. Like he was like he said he had a terrible audition. He had to like scream at some woman like horrible things, and he like, it's so funny because Clancy Brown's this huge imposing dude, and he has such an iconic role there, being this bastard, guard. And he couldn't get himself to yell at this poor woman, is this actress. Like she's like, no, she's like, come on, like, do it, I'm okay.
Let
and
it
he
go.
couldn't. He was such a gentleman, he could not for the life of him get there and get that angry and sinister mindset.
I didn't realize he was in Shawshank. Now that you say it, what's interesting then is that there's an alternate universe where Clancy Brown either played the governor or Negan. In the universe where he's still in control of the franchise.
Oh, I would have loved to see him as the governor. I think that would have been rad.
Right? Clancy Brown is the governor.
Oh,
that would have been amazing.
Cool.
I want to live in that universe.
Bouncing back to Star Trek really quick. I try loosely to try to gauge
connect the dots,
connect things in, like, okay, here we're going to talk about movie, or like here's like all the Star Wars news, or here's all the TV. It's
called getting off topic, Tony.
Exactly. Yeah. So apparently Whoopi Goldberg has been teasing potentially showing up in Picard season 2.
Guinan, yeah.
Bringing back Guinan.
When the first season came out, Picard just straight up said, "You are welcome on the show if you choose to come. We will make a part for you."
I like how you just called him Picard instead of Patrick Stewart.
He is Picard, damn it.
Yeah, that's just who he is. But yeah, that apparently he offered it straight up, like, "Hey, come on at any time." But it's been coming back in the headlines more lately, and I think Whoopi Goldberg had some quote about, like, hopefully you'll see me coming down the road, but they can't reveal anything if it does happen. But.
And she's definitely been acting more, rather than her.
She's in The Stand.
Yeah, The Stand,
which is CBS All Access.
Did you watch that?
I haven't watched it yet. I'm gonna binge it sometime.
I haven't either.
I've heard very mixed reviews.
Yeah, I've heard mixed reviews too.
Yeah. This is a random one that Megan and I thought was really cool. Since we've been on our Supernatural binge, one cool thing the CW is doing, there's actually a spin-off show coming, which on the surface sounds like, oh god, another spin-off, but it's called Trickster, and stars, I'm probably going to butcher this name, but Joel Olette. But it's basically starring as with him as an indigenous teen who is a trickster in the supernatural verse. Has powers or whatever. But between this and Taika's show coming for for
Reservation
FX.
Dogs.
Reservation Dogs. Yeah, I thought that was really cool that they're putting out more representation for the indigenous folk.
I mean, it's really surprising that indigenous peoples have been so ignored by the media for so long, despite the fact that like there's a rich tapestry of storytelling you can get out of their experiences, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And along with with the theme of supernatural, of course, there's a lot of opportunity for them. There was in an interview, they were talking about how they can blend a lot of the cultural beliefs mixed in with the the supernatural monster verse and what have you, mythology and stuff. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. We were kind of we actually watched this past week. There was a documentary series on the 80s of Nat Geo, I think, or what was
I'm
that?
not paying
87?
attention. What?
Never mind. Thanks, Meg. Huge help. There was a 6-part hour-long documentary series we just watched on the 80s, like the 80s as a decade in the whole and everything. Like, not that we
It
need
was like
more
VH1
of that,
or
but
something.
I love the 80s.
no, it wasn't like corny shit like that. But it was really breaking down the whole decade. You know, they talked about pop culture. They talked about the whole, Reagan administration. They broke down
Was
a
it
whole
just
aspect
CNN
of
the
80s.
80s?
I don't know. Maybe, whatever. Rob Lowe narrated it.
Yeah, I think
but-
that was CNN's the 80s.
Okay, maybe. But there was a part where they talked about the whole when they were talking about TV and like groundbreaking series and stuff. At one point they got to the Cosby Show, and regardless of Bill Cosby himself and where that ended up, that got us in conversation about how that was huge for the representation of the African American middle class family. Like, oh yeah, this does actually exist, and different shades of different minority groups actually exist, and
Well, and also showing middle class African Americans at all, which was not a thing that happened very often.
Exactly. Yeah. And then when this news popped up and that got us talking about like, oh my God, yeah, like how often do you see, bless you,
Thank you.
indigenous people represented at all, except for the random episode of X-Files or Supernatural, for example, when they have to go talk to the old wise man or something, like that's
only show
all you get.
There's so
The only
many
show
X-Files
that
episodes.
The only show that you actually get to see that in is Longmire. I think that's the only thing that comes to.
Well, there was that in Northern Exposure, but Northern
Yeah.
Exposure ended in like 1997.
Yeah, Longmire's on my list to get around to. I've heard a lot of good things about it, and I dig Katie Sackhoff. So
Definitely a good casual watch. It's like binging it, I think, is probably too much because the episodes kind of run together. It's kind of like the same episode of the week with the overarching story.
It's kind of Katie Sackhoff and Walker Texas Ranger, essentially.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
Speaking of Supernatural and Walker.
Oh yeah. Jared Padalecki's starting his Walker reboot, which that works. It's him in a cowboy hat.
Do you know who created Walker Texas Ranger?
The
guy who wrote Crash, Paul Haggis.
Really?
Yep. He was the executive producer and showrunner and creator of Walker Texas Ranger.
I'll be damned.
Yep.
All right.
Before he left the Church of Scientology.
Huh.
Looks
Well,
like we're coming up on our time limit again.
God damn it. Ugh. Okay. All right. Well, we're getting pretty long here, so let me try to wrap things up anyway. Monster movies. Let's talk monster movies. Universal, classic, the OG Universal monster movies, you can actually see as of now on YouTube, streaming for free.
Nice.
Universal.
That's pretty cool because those can sometimes be hard to get good copies of.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was starting this Friday, actually, the 15th, just 2 days ago. They started releasing them. They're releasing them day by day. So on the 15th, they dropped Dracula and 1931 Dracula and 1932 The Mummy.
That 1931 Dracula is really a fantastic mood piece. It is still creepy. It's not scary like it would have been back then, but it is haunting and it's beautiful and highly recommended.
Yeah, Meg and I finally watched it just a couple years ago, I want to say. And isn't that the one that we saw at the Hey Meg, you paying attention?
Which movie are we
The
talking about?
1931 Bela Lugosi Dracula. Is that the one that we saw at the
Yes.
Surgistrum Center? Yeah.
Yes, it was really cool.
Yeah, at the Surgistrum Theater out here in Orange County. They did they did a screening of it along with Philip Glass and a little string quartet doing the soundtrack live. So they did a live performance string quartet for the soundtrack as the movie was playing. It was pretty
That's rad.
Yeah, it's a really good time.
Are they going to release the 58 with Cushing and Christopher Lee?
I would imagine, probably.
Possibly. These are the original old school ones. So you've got Dracula, the Mummy, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, The Invisible Man, The Wolf Man, and Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
Frankenstein,
Oh,
48.
I love
That's
that.
a good one. That's so
Yeah.
good.
All of those are out officially as of today. So
The
they
first
started-
crossover movie.
Yeah.
'Cause don't they end up seeing the other characters too? Not
They
just
see the
Frankenstein?
Mummy. I don't.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, it's Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. I don't know.
The
if
Mummy
that's
is also in it.
Yeah, I think that might be the same one. Mummy's also in that one too. Yeah. But yeah. You can look for those on YouTube.
Well, it makes sense because Marvel is
the
trying to
home of horror,
rehabilitate the Universal Monsters brand.
Yeah, they've been trying.
Invisible Man
That was
phenomenal.
Yeah,
That
Meg
was
and I watched
amazing.
that. That was
That
incredible.
was one of the best horror movies I've seen in years.
That was really good. Yeah. Elizabeth Moss.
And isn't Ryan Gosling playing the Wolfman?
Yes. Yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
about that one. Yeah, that one's still in
The next in a
progress.
long line of failed Wolfman movies reboots.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how they do.
Benicio del Toro.
He just has to play his character from Drive, but with fur on.
There you go. Yeah, just be silent and broody and
Here, bud. Come on.
yeah, throw a "awoo" in there. Yeah.
Come on.
Godzilla versus Kong. They pushed
Yeah.
up. They pushed up the release date that was going to be out in May. Now it's March. Theatrical and HBO Max. So I still have to watch the last Godzilla movie.
Still really looking forward to it. Still disappointed with the power creep.
Oh, Godzilla's
Yeah.
up and down powers. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, HBO Max released that that sizzle trailer yesterday, I think, of clips from all of the slate of day and date releases this year. And it had footage from every single thing except for The Matrix.
Oh.
Which I was just wondering, it's like that movie comes out in like 9 months. We haven't seen anything from it.
Yeah.
I hope we don't. I hope they just
Drop the movie.
just drop the movie. Just give
'Cause
us
there's
title
gotta be some-
cards.
There's
give
got to
us
be some big
music.
twist, right? There has to be some like era defining like twist. I would imagine there's going to be.
I did see another one that we haven't seen shit about until now. Mortal Kombat. There were a few little screen
Couple of
grabs for
stills
that.
came out.
Yeah, some stills and the main
Is
actor.
is Mortal Kombat by the same people who made the web series?
I don't think so.
Don't know.
Is it a
It
different
is a
creative
new director, first time director. I'll have to look him up. But Simon McCoy? I don't know what he's done. Australian director. I don't know. We'll see. I mean the few little stills look cool, and they were talking about how there's really the part of it is the whole blood feud between Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
That should be good.
So,
And I'm guessing they're definitely setting that up for franchise. So
yeah, probably, most likely. Yeah, we'll see. And finally, I had, unless there's other geek news out there, I had 3 little bits. I feel that we should honor these 3 people. One is a downer, one is a sad note, and 2 uppers to end on. Beloved World of Warcraft player and cosplayer, actually more popularly known as the South Park guy, Jared Nandin? Jared Nandin passed away from COVID.
R.I.P.
Over the holidays.
I've met him a couple of times actually.
Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah, that was unfortunate to hear. But yeah, beloved by many. Everybody who reported, met him at the.
He'll
on the
respawn in
convention
heaven.
circuit. He will respawn in heaven. Yes.
He's apparently
yeah.
really good friends with Matt Mercer.
Yeah, everybody said he's a really cool guy, really humble, and really kind of use this platform to talk about inclusivity, body positivity, all that stuff. So
Yeah, I met him a couple of times at BlizzCon and WonderCon. Good dude.
yeah. I found out when I saw on Instagram Michelle Morrow's post about him, just paying tribute to him, and anyway, R.I.P. And to end on an upper, we have 2 old timers still kicking, still full of life. James Earl Jones turned 90 today.
Oh my gosh.
Betty White turns 99.
And Betty White turned 99.
Wow.
Yeah.
Apparently, she has a project coming out, something that was supposedly lost like 30 years ago. That
I think her show that was
Pet something. Pet
from the
Moons
70s,
or
the Pet Set.
Pet Set. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Aired in 1971, and she produced and hosted it, highlighting celebrities and their pets.
Sounds amazing.
It's gonna go up on
That's
YouTube
really
or something.
lover too.
Yeah, yes. But yeah, I guess she's working on trying to get that restored and released. And she said she was going to spend today, her 99th, just making some calls, working on that, and feeding the 2 little ducks that come to visit her at her home.
Aw.
Yeah. And James Earl Jones turning 90, he reiterated that he's still full of life, having fun. He loves working. He's going to keep acting as long as he possibly can. He's got.
Do you think he's in? Do you think he's in Coming to America?
Oh yeah. He's in the trailer and everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he was going to treat himself to some strawberry shortcake today, he said, which is his favorite.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh shit, we got less than a minute to go. But yeah, that's yeah.
See you guys on the other side.
See you on the other side. You on the other side, Ray. This is Tony.
This is Todd.
This is Byron.
And Meg.
And Meg coming in.
And Meg.
Thank you for joining, guys. Stay frosty.